All right, what is going on, friends? Welcome to Furnace Focus. My name is Liam Bernhard, and today I have my friend Ben Fontenot with me from Burn 24/7, Galveston, Texas, USA. Say what's up, Ben.
Ooh, what's up? What's up?
I'm super excited to have this conversation today, um, and I'm glad to have Ben's face right here to get to talk to your face. I mean, I wish you were right next to me, but your face
Yeah,
is a decent substitute.
always better. But
Well, hey, why don't we start off? Could you tell us a little bit about why Burn 24/7, how Burn 24/7 for you? What kind of started the furnace in Galveston? What brought you to Burn 24/7?
yeah, well, it kind of it really started. It started with Hillside, really. We were we were doing some worship and prayer gatherings here, some that were like official United Church things, and some that were kind of pop-up kind of things. Some of them were just unofficial, unplugged, everybody get in a room and worship, and really had a heart to just to grow that. And there were people here that were wanting to do more of that. Um, but just for me personally, I started looking for some kind of a worship school. I felt the Lord leading me to go to some kind of worship school of some sort. And I didn't really want to. I wasn't really looking for like technical training or all that, even though I wanted that, and I'm always wanting to grow in that. But I was really just looking to get in uh, an atmosphere in a room with a bunch of people, and just to be honest, like people that were going to stretch me. Like, who's the most swirly, weird people I could get in a room with, and that love Jesus, and then just go after the Lord, and in a worship setting. And so as I was, I was looking at like at one time, Awaken the Dawn had a deal going on in Fredericksburg called I think it was called Awakening Revive School or something like that. I think it's changed. There was Worship You, obviously. I looked at what Heart of David and Austin, and I think there was a couple others, and I couldn't just like be gone. I mean, I couldn't do Awaken the Dawn was like 6 weeks or something, and I really couldn't pull that off. Um, and so I figured it was going to be about a 2 week thing. And I don't know, I don't remember how I did, but I ran across Hillside, and I ran across Burn 24/7, and just started praying about it. And Hillside really looked like something, looked like that. Like everything that I described was like a lot more. I mean, there was structure around it, but it was very, I don't know, a little more organic, I guess. And so I went to Hillside in Sacramento. The Humphreys were leading that, and then a bunch of other people were there too, Andrew and gosh, just a bunch of different people. And that's where I met them. And I knew, like, once I went with Burn 24/7 on my heart, but I didn't really know what that looked like, what that would involve. Went to Hillside, and after 2 weeks, that really marked me in a lot of ways, for leadership,
Yeah.
uh, which is not what I was really going for. I really wasn't wanting to be like grow in leadership or become any kind of leader in any way. I really just wanted to go be there and just like be a sponge with a bunch of people.
Totally.
Um, and I did that, but I kind of got thrust into leadership often in in that atmosphere. And so um, as that happened, and different people would, through that experience, different people would give different words and of encouragement, and out of that, I ended up, I think it was the last day, I ended up having a conversation. I called Chris and Alicia and said, "Hey, what does this look like to start a burn?" And just had a conversation with them, and Chris was like, "You need to talk to my boy Liam in your region. He's super cool." And I think he threw in like, rig, gear, prez, plow. That was all part of the conversation. I was like, "What is wrong with these people?" And
Oh
now,
man.
and now, and now I'm like, that's just the way everyone should talk. I've learned. Um, But anyway, out of Hillside is where Burn 24/7 Galveston was birthed in my heart. Because I had another thing that I was kind of doing,
Yeah.
um, called Around the Fire, which was basically a these worship nights where the first one we did, I called it a worship experiment. Or it was, I mean, it was
That's awesome.
really like I just said, I mean, there was probably 50 or 60 people in this old chapel, and I was like, "Hey, we don't even know what songs we're gonna do," and we just did that, and it was really cool. A lady, a lady's knee got healed that night.
Come
Like,
on.
just, I mean, we it was just very much like we worshipped and prayed, and then had people pray for each other in pockets, and she shared about that later, that night, and it was just fun. I mean, it was just cool to like. It was very laid back and not, you know, Leslie and I talk about like what the burn is, and really what we see when it comes to like gathering as the church, and the structure. We call it a house with movable walls. Like at one time we were like, it's a house without walls, but
Yeah.
it really is a house, and there is structure to it, but
Yeah.
the walls are movable, and so you can kind of breathe and shift as needed, even though there's a structure to it. So that's really how Burn 24/7 Galveston was birthed. It was really out of Hillside, and a deep connection with everyone there, because it was once I was there, almost immediately I was like, these are my people.
Yeah.
These are the people. Like, these are the worship and prayer people, the ones that are like really, um, going after the Lord in a deeper way. And so, um, yeah, that's really where it was birthed,
I
out of
love it.
Hillside.
So awesome. And you, how long have you been running with the burn? How long has it been going there in Galveston? Is it 3 years? 2 years? Where are you at?
No, no, it'll be 2 years in November.
Yeah, two
We
years
we,
in
we
November.
kind of, yeah, yeah, yeah. We kind of shifted our birthday from November to December, just cause.
Yeah,
So we'll
because
say December.
yeah,
Just
it's easier to remember just because. Yeah. So
yeah.
you've been doing this for 2 years, which for some people that can feel like it's a really short time. For some people, they're maybe chomping at the bit to get started. Um, let's talk a little bit about the kind of the 2 year mark where you're at right now. Um, do you do you sense any like how have things shifted coming out of Hillside, kind of having that energy and that momentum to start the furnace, and then you started the furnace, and now as you're going month to month, um, what is different than maybe the Hillside experience or maybe what you originally thought? Do you know what I mean? Like what's different than you thought, and what kind of is exactly what you thought? Like what are those two pieces?
What's different than I thought? I don't know. I don't know if there's anything different. I mean, I being at Hillside, I mean, we got to participate in two different burns. One was um, on the front end. It was a 12. Was it the front end? Yeah, front end was a 12-hour burn at a church, but then the one on the last day was a 12-hour burn, or 10. I can't remember. outside, like in Sacramento at the state capitol. And so uh, I really, the burn for me, has been pretty much like what I experienced there. I don't know that there was any, and I guess I kind of took that as, oh, this is how it is. Now, the cool thing, the first year felt very much like this is the burn, and this is what we do. And it took a good year to for us to stop and go, okay, what do we do? What is this?
Right.
What exactly are we doing? What is the what we kind of, because you kind of get into a rhythm of, okay, we launched with our burn, and then after that it was 24 hours every month.
Yep.
And so we set that as a standard, and we just wanted to, and we just made it happen. But it took, after a year, it was like, okay. And just honestly, I was starting to feel a little bit like, this is a routine. Are we getting into a rut where we just do this, like, and what is the goal? What is the mission here? And obviously Jesus is worthy, and we would proclaim that, and whether it's 4 in the morning, or 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, like, Jesus is worthy, Jesus is worthy. But at the same time, like, he is worthy, but like, I wanted to really, wrap my I didn't want to just keep doing this under that mantra. I mean, Jesus is worthy of everything, not just playing my guitar for hours and hours. And so, what does this look like, um, in terms of, with like the people outside the building? Because we would be doing this, and I know a huge part of the burn DNA is doing things outside, hitting the street. I mean, we started doing, like, we call them street burns, but like, actually ministering to people outside the building. And there are people that have a heart for that, and not just to be in the building all day long, all night long. They want to encounter him, in the city. Um, and so we just started to look at all of that, and what is this going to look like? And a big part of our heart too is as the gathering is, and we're still fleshing this out, like, moving forward. How could we do this where maybe it wasn't even, okay, we've got to do 24 hours every month, but even, what if we did a couple different gatherings a month, where it started with a meal, and we had, and we've incorporated, like, the first couple hours of the burn, we started doing where it was more kind of like, it started as a worship night, and then praying for each other and ministering to each other, and then kind of off a burn from there. Um, but just exploring, like, what can this look like? I realized that the burn, house of prayer, there it's about this. It can feel like a machine.
Yeah.
And something that I heard Mike Bickle say whenever they shut down one thing was, I've been fathering a vision, but I haven't been fathering a people.
Wow.
And that struck me, and has kind of stuck in my heart since he said that. And I don't want to do that in anything that I do. Not in my home, in my family, not in the burn, not in any ministry or any part of my life do I want to just father a vision. Like, this has always been about Jesus, the person, the man, and people. And so, if it's if it becomes just a vision machine that we're oiling, and we're not actually being oiled and oiling up, you know what I mean?
Yep.
That's good. Write that down. That'll preach. Uh, then I don't want any part of it. And I really started to kind of, after a year, I started to wrestle with that. Like, what is this? What am I doing? How is this sustainable? Um, and And so, yeah, we're looking at it. So, to answer your question, and I don't know if I'm answering your question, uh, is it different? I think we're starting to explore how it can be a little different, but a lot of it is the same DNA, the same, the same model. Um, and we are exploring and experimenting. And also like with COVID and all that, and then with, what's happened over the last month, with George Floyd and partnering with civil righteousness and all that. That has changed. I mean, we took the burn, what was 24 hours or was a 12-hour digital burn, and it turned into four different spots in the city throughout the month. And so trying to, and that's been really cool, and we want to do more of that, and people want to do more of that. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely the same as what I experienced, and also I think it's evolving, and we're trying to shift with what the Lord is doing and what the season is, and not just getting stuck in a this is what we do,
Yeah.
this is the machine, this is how we do it. Um, yeah, because I don't want to lose sight of where he's doing in the moment. So
That's super good. I think that's something that I've enjoyed through my time getting to experience different burns and and leading the burn here in Oklahoma City is that part of the autonomous furnace and like man, we really do get to follow the spirit of the Lord and what the Lord is saying for us in this community. But then we also, we have these global and these national initiatives, and so there's this like ebb and flow of us going together as a movement, as well as us stepping in on behalf of our people locally, and it's this cool like interwoven swirl, it's the swirl of the presence of God, and that's
girl,
one of my favorite parts of Burn 24/7. Um, Something that Ben, I just to brag on you, something I've noticed just from the beginning of our friendship and you starting a furnace is that piece that you're talking about, that father heart, um, is something that's always been there. I think that that is something that motivates you deeply in a healthy way. It's like a healthy motivator to be a father figure to your community and also to your family. Um, and I think that that is it's a really tough thing to balance um, as a leader because I think a lot of times when we think like we have something, we have a vision, we have to get this thing done, and it feels kind of like it can be a little pointed, and we have to get this thing done, and it has to be this way. But I've seen you lead out of a softer place. Obviously, having that father like heart, I think, is a huge part of how you lead. And so I would love to just give you some space to talk about just the father heart. I mean, what is it about that, the father heart of God? What is it about interacting as a father that really helps equip others, that really helps love others, that helps bring people along? Like, how are those things, those elements, um, how are they fleshed out for you with the burn? How are they fleshed out as a father? Could you share a little bit about that?
uh, yeah, because I'm an expert at all that. Uh, am I answering your questions?
Yeah, you're doing great, dude. You're doing great.
I just am I
I
just rambling on about nothing?
that's a part of it is like I want to set up some T-balls for you. Like I want
Okay.
to set up T-balls for you to just ballpark stuff out. And that's what you're doing. You're doing awesome. I'm loving it. Especially I think this is going to be incredible for both people that have been doing this for a long time and people that are really chomping at the bit to get going. I think you have a lot to offer. And so I know that
Um,
yeah, the father heart, I think we think it looks it has to look a certain way, but I don't know, you carry it. I just would love to hear about that.
yeah, I that it definitely plays into um, leading anything really, whether it's a room of 5 people or leading worship uh, on a Sunday morning. I get to do that all the time. And it's I whenever I think about it, how that my heart is always in everything really. If I think about it, it's always about atmosphere. It's always about the space and creating space and room and for people to um, it's really like a garden. I,
Yeah.
I love so I love to garden.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I've learned and what you do in with a garden, you're often people want to treat what they see. They want to treat the leaves, they want to treat the plant, they want to treat the flowers and everything that's above ground. And but ultimately with a garden, you take care of the soil, and the soil produces the plant, and the plant produces leaves and bears fruit. And really, if you take care of the soil and water it and manage it and keep stuff out of it that doesn't need to be in there, um, it'll do what it's supposed to do. Like God's already put the DNA in the seed. It just needs the right soil to grow, and that's the same with my heart and everybody's heart.
Come on.
And He's a father,
Yep.
and I think that um, to lead anything, to guide any whether it is a vision, but or an organization or a ministry or whatever. There still are people involved, and it's not as easy as just you do this, you do this, you do this, go. There's hearts involved and dynamics involved. And I think about our kids. Like, we have 3 kids, and they are um, different,
Yeah.
and they're even different as they grow. Um, and learning how to kind of shepherd their hearts, and learning how to respond and not just react, and
Yeah.
how to really father them the way that the Lord fathers us. And so uh, I, I really it's I really try to keep things as simple as possible. I,
Yeah.
I try to keep things as simple as possible in all ways, really. Eh, because we have a tendency to make it more complicated than it is. um, and and often people want to people want to participate. They want to uh, they want to bring an offering. Some one of the coolest things in the world for me, like I really can appreciate. How do I say this? I really appreciate excellence, and I appreciate skill. I mean, Psalm 33, sing a new song, play skillfully. It's there is value in that, um, and I think in certain environments, in certain venues, there's a time for that. But I don't necessarily look at every part of the burn that way at all. And one of the cool things that happened, um, at least in my heart, when this started, was seeing people experience the freedom to go, whether it's on a actual stage or however we were doing it, the freedom to get up there and to bring their offering. And whether it was prayer or reading scripture or playing or leading a song or whatever it was, there's plenty times whenever it's not what the world or what your flesh would say is amazing.
Yeah.
um, but there have been times when that has happened where it's like, this isn't the best thing, but I literally, and just humbly saying, being vulnerable here, I'm in the back of the room, and my ears are saying that's not that great, but my heart is like swollen,
Right.
like with pride for like a father, because they are pouring their heart out. The courage. I mean, because I witnessed that at Hillside when we did I think it was like prophetic singing or something. I don't remember. But like we were standing in a circle and they're passing the mic around, and you just got to sing what's on your heart. And I mean, was experienced at it, and I was still terrified. I mean, honestly. And there were people in the room that have not led people, have not sung in front of people, or just kind of figuring out their voice, and just the sheer terror of getting that mic. But then seeing the freedom come out,
Wow.
it was just amazing, and giving people space to do that. Um, and getting to watch, participate, and like I said, stand. Often I'll be in the back of the rooms, and I don't know. It just there's something special about it, and again, there's time for. I mean, I like to write songs and record and do it, and I appreciate quality and good sounding mixes and all that kind of stuff, but like I don't approach the burn that way. I mean, we have you could run the gamut of skill levels, but who cares? I mean, people get up and they share their heart, and they confess things and share what the Lord's speaking to them, and sing songs, whether they've written them or whatever it is. There's been different kinds of different genres uh, of music, and it's just cool, and it's a safe space. Like I said, it's basically like the way I see it is it's basically like, okay, here's some really really healthy soil,
Yeah.
grow.
Right.
And and that to me is what it looks like to father uh, people and a vision,
Yeah.
really.
Come on.
If you can, I mean, I think you can do both
Yeah.
if you pay attention.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. That's so good,
does that
dude.
make sense?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's that element of fathers and mothers both create. They develop. They're thinking about atmosphere. They're thinking about how do we create safe spaces for you to go to the next place. Because I
Right,
like ultimately, it's like you're not trying to make a name for Ben. Like that's
right,
not the thing. It's like we're trying to make a name for Jesus. And so actually the healthier everybody is and the more equipped everybody is in the room, like the more it's just like that's how it works. Like the more fire that's on or the
yeah,
more fuel that's on this flame.
yeah.
It's
And
cool.
there's instruction. I mean, it's not without instruction or without
Right.
guidance at times, but I've found that. I mean, I've found that people can actually learn and grow just being there. I mean, I could. Okay, so I'm a worship leader. Like I do this. I do it often. And some would look to me for help or guidance or whatever. But like I've also found that people were encouraged and they grew and they learned without me ever even doing anything or saying anything, just being in the room and doing it with me. Like people, and it's true. And again, it's not to say that we don't have training or we don't have equipping, but if you look at the way Jesus equipped and trained, it wasn't just okay. Here's all the teaching. Okay,
Yeah.
go do that.
Go do it.
Like
Yeah.
he did it. He showed them how to do it. He did it with them, and then he released them to do it. And then they came back, and then okay, how did you do it right? How did you do it wrong?
Yeah.
And so anyway, it there's something to just being in the room together, doing it together, whether it sounds beautiful or it's amazing every not. There's freedom released. There's family as a part of it, uh, and there's a depth, a spiritual depth that happens just being in the room and praying and worshiping together. that I don't know how you can replicate um, without it, without him. So
Wow. So good, dude. So good. I want to, we're going to try to kind of close this thing up, but before I ask you kind of the final questions, I want to ask you what's next for Burn Galveston? What's next for you, Ben? What's going on in your world? What are you working on?
ah man, that's a complicated question. Um, things
Things.
I I I'm actually always working on music, not necessarily putting it out there. But I did like informally decide to put out an EP. Like I did a single a while back, but to put out like a 4 song EP or something.
Yes.
Um, and I have songs to do it. I just haven't like finished them and done all of it. That's actually kind of been on the back burner uh, because of the book, like writing this book, and which I've never done before, and that's been an experience in
Come on.
itself. Uh, yeah, and like that wasn't even. Are we talking about that? I don't know what.
Yeah, go for it. Talk about what's the title? What'd you write?
So the book is called An Altar of Moments, and it came out of a time with the Lord where I wasn't. I actually been praying. I don't know. I don't even know what I was doing or what I was thinking, or I literally was like, I'm going to lay on the floor and I'm here. And he started speaking to me with some different things. And an altar of moment was a concept, kind of an idea that I had, um, and basically just the way I think of, just the daily walk, like, this building an altar with every moment, and we can build altars to Baal. We can
Mhm.
build an altar to the Lord.
Yeah.
We can build an altar to our finances, whatever. But like taking every moment, the idea of taking these moments captive, and not in a white knuckling kind of way, but during in a frustrating situation, just stopping and like, man, Lord, I give you praise. Like they don't know.
Wow.
Forgive them. They don't know. Like if you can say that to me off the cross as I'm spitting on you and pulling out your beard, and your back's laid open. If you can say forgive them, then I can learn. I can grow in that too.
Wow.
And that's just one part of it. But um, so yeah, it really came out really fast. It's taking for not forever, but it's taking a while. It's taken a while to like format it and figure out the cover and all that kind of stuff. And so, but yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited for it to be out there, because I really think I feel like it's good. I feel
Yeah.
like it will be helpful,
Yep.
and it'll bless people. So
Yeah. I love it. So I got to read through it. I got to kind of give you a little praise. So
yeah,
I'm excited, man. I think it's a
yeah,
really
me too.
good book. So
Cool.
it's
Thank you.
you're very parabolic, believe it or not, much like the main man Jesus. You're such like a visual teacher, and it's exciting. There's a lot to chew on in the book. I'm excited for people to get their
Cool.
hands on it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so the last thing that I've been asking people to do is tell us how we can be praying for you and Burn Galveston, and then can you pray for the movement? Pray for Burn 24/7, where we're going, and that's how we'll end it. So go ahead and tell us.
Uh, how can you be praying for us? You, uh, really, I mean, probably the same. Everyone would have the same answer. um, from a movement that as much about extended hours in a room with a bunch of people, um, to hit this wall called COVID and all this stuff going on. It we've just been trying to figure it out like everybody else. And I'm actually, it's been good. Like I think it's the Lord has in a lot of ways forced us all out of our box. I mean, because you could, even the burn can become a box,
Hmm.
and so uh, it's forced us to really rethink, like how, where is our heart in things individually and also as a movement, as a family, as a region, and as a city. And so I think my biggest prayer would be uh, that we continue to move with him, that we don't, I don't want to, like I said before, I don't want to hold to any particular model or vision that if his vision is changing for us and evolving for us, and he's moving and shifting. Jesus said my father's always working. Like, that tells me that he's on the move. He's doing things. He's doing a new thing. There's more to discover and more to know of him, and so I don't, what is he doing and what is he saying, in regards to Galveston, and what it look like, and really, and also, in that, a prayer would be not to look not to look at social media and try to form our community around what we see, because Galveston is her own her own city,
Yep.
as with everybody's city, and it's unique in lots of different ways, and so has its own challenges, has its own different blessings and um, dynamics. So yeah, I think there's a prayer wrapped up in everything I said somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Then can you pray for us? Pray for the movement.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So Father, I thank you. I thank you that we even get to do this. Um, I thank you for technology. I thank you for my brother Liam, that we can be in two different states and see each other's faces. I thank you for what you're doing in the earth, not just in Burn 24/7, but in the earth, in the church at large. I really believe that uh, the church is under construction in a lot of ways, and Lord, we want to be open. So I pray that we would have open hearts and hold everything loosely in Burn 24/7 as a global movement, specifically. Help us to hold everything loosely. Help us to hold the models loosely, the buildings loosely, all the things that we have seen and done up until this point. We've seen how life can change quickly and drastically. The last few months have been a blur, and so Lord, I pray that the only thing that we would hold tightly to would be, to you and to your heart. And I pray for our brothers and sisters all around the globe that are building furnaces of praise in every city. And Lord, ultimately, we want Jesus to be made known. We want a banner, um, to be lifted high in our cities and in the nations of the earth. And we just agree with Malachi 1:11, that your name would be great among the nations, that incense would rise from every nation. And we thank you. I thank you. I thank you that we get to partner with that vision and with that word and what you declared so long ago. Um, we have the privilege of being your sons and daughters in your family. So I ask you to rise uh, to rise up in us, to give us boldness as your church, to shake us, so that everything that can't be shaken would rise up and be sifted through. And Lord, we love you. We give you praise. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Man, thank you, Ben. Thank you
Yeah,
so
man.
much. And hey, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
All right. See you later.
See you later.
Bye.